Hello and welcome back to another episode of World of Warcraft Hardcore. My name is Syken and today we're continuing the adventures of our shaman Syken Shocks. In the meantime, we've made our way to the Unguru crater. I've started a little bit of the grind and I figured to not always showcase the same few quests. I will sometimes just do a few in the background and then rather showcase more gameplay footage of quests that are actually interesting. At the moment I find myself really just grinding through a lot of the enemies. Unguru Crater is heavily grindy. My challenge is I would love to do a few more quests at once to be efficient, but there's always a but. I am keeping tabs on many Sunken Temple quests. Matter of fact, if I'm looking at Sunken Temple, I think I do have 5 or so. 4 and 1 trade-in away from the 5th one. So almost collected all of the Sunken Temple quests. There will be even a 6th one within the Sunken Temple. So that run is going to be absolutely lit. Consequently, talking about that run, we have been trying to organize it in a while, and on such a quote-unquote dead server. I mean, this is almost prime gaming time at the moment, and just look at the available people. We have 26 people in the level bracket 52 to 59, which is, mind you, not half of the game, but a huge portion of the game, and only 26 people have survived that long, currently even there. To give you kind of a flavor of how that boils down to actual gameplay, because I know, of course, most of them, since you're leveling more or less side by side, and although some might be slower and some might be a little bit faster, you at least see the same names again, unless of course they are dying. So let's say we were about to find the tank, and I want to kind of illustrate a point with that whole exercise here. Let's say we were about to find the tank, or that is all we needed for Sunken Temple. Then we would go, how about this druid, Flaku? I've grouped with him in the past. I don't want to slander that individual, but they themselves say they are feral, but they don't want to tank. Okay, then Bruce Force X, I've talked with him in the past. He does not want to do dungeons, period. Then Rage Kak is a new guy. I know not much about him, but he hasn't answered the previous calls when I was trying to set up a group. And the guy Gar here essentially said, I'm a DPS warrior, sorry, which I've already shared my opinion of how stupid that is. And that's it. Those were the 4 prospects that you have. So if you now were to look for a dungeon group, you would need to think about how to get a tank for that particular endeavor, and that's what we're trying to do since 2 days. We do have all of the other 4 people more or less available, and we're finding kind of common slots that fit the schedule of everybody, typically later in the evening. But that then leads to the problem that later in the evening the population on an already low pop server is even going to be lower than it has been before. So then, you're 2 days in a row you're trying to do the dungeon and it doesn't work. Now, we'll produce tonight a thing that isn't playing that often. Will be coming back and wants to do the dungeon with us, so finally some Sunken Temple footage, hopefully, as that will break the streak of not even being able to find a dungeon. But if I had to pick maybe one gripe that I'm having with this game, then it would likely be the inavailability of players. I can understand that most of the hardcore challenge is just to level to 60, and if you look at the brackets, I've mentioned it in my very first playthrough, at level 40, just statistically, only would need to look up the numbers. I don't want to pull them just out of thin air. But if I'm not completely mistaken, it's kind of halving every 10 levels, roughly speaking. It was even more drastic than that. So at level 10, it's only 50%, level 20, 25%, then level 30, 12%, level 40 is only 6.5%, and the numbers were even lower. So I think level 42 was the top 5% of players that even made it there, and that is barely halfway, experience-wise, of the entire game. So between 42 and then 50, it halves again, so we're at 3%, and then 50 to 55 it halves again, so we're at 1.5%, and then typically level 60 is that sub 1% of people being here. So naturally finding a dungeon in and around level 55 means from all of the already sparse hardcore population, you've weeded out all of the players that for various reasons, lack of caution, lack of skill, lack of knowledge, or lack of time commitment, couldn't even make it that far, and you're looking at a fraction of the original player base, as in around 2%, maybe even less than that. And yeah, some classes are just overrepresented, others aren't. If you look at the spread here, there are 6 quote-unquote huntards, as they are derogatively called in World of Warcraft Hardcore, because the class itself is so forgiving that basically they are not being weeded out earlier. And whether or not it's true, that's the reason why, whether or not it's true that these are bad players, it's definitely the reason why there is a higher hunter population, simply because the class is more forgiving. However, in a dungeon you can only take one hunter with you, and oftentimes they, for the reasons stated previously, aren't really good. Then you do have a couple of frost mages. Half of them want to do their own thing and just grind through it, and the other half is available. And then you do have more or less an even split of all of the classes, maybe short of warlocks and druids, and typically also short of shamans, because they don't normally make it all the way to 60. It's the most dying class of all of them. So yeah, that's kind of the class spread. And if you then think that only druids and warriors reliably can tank, then you're in a situation where it will be very difficult to find a dungeon group. Long-winded way of saying difficult to find dungeon groups. Here are the explanations why, and that's why we have been trying for 2 days to get that Sunken Temple run going. In the meantime, I am of course not idle, but we're trying to just continue to level. A couple of quests here, a couple of quests there, and Ungoro Crater is a perfect opportunity for us to just continue our leveling process. Also, with the layer swap method, I don't need to always change positions. We can simply layer swap, as you've seen here, and once we have layer swap, all of these guys should have respawned. There we go. Magically they are reappearing. I'm always using the technique nowadays to just shorten the paths and the waiting time. At the moment we're grinding down these pterodactyls, also for a couple of those web scales and just the quest overall. Beware of the pterodactyls as well as the web scales quest. So that should be easy enough. And we're almost done with that. Once this plateau is cleared, we should be good to go. So fast forward that part for you. Alright, so we're back. It's a bit of a time travel because I did a dungeon which will be aired in the next episode, but this episode wasn't long enough, so I figured I'll just add a little bit content on top of it. And much to my dismay, I forgot to show how much XP just the trade-ins of quests could account for, because I think I've just received around 30% of a level based on trading in quests. Granted, there were a lot of quests that we needed to do here, but boy oh boy, we really received a lot of experience, and it's still not done. There are more quests, but I want to make sure that I free up the quest log a little bit as well. And yeah, you can see.
You have a great day now. Very well then.
That's a solid 10,000 experience right there. So we're at 45%. I love Unguro Crater. It is unbeatable once you are finding a good route. It's just a lot of experience. Okay, so what is on the menu? We will see a bit of a cave fight against gorillas, which is what I wanted to showcase. But before we go there, I will need to trade in or respectively ship off a couple of items. I found a random drop stone render gauntlets, an epic drop, so very lucky on this part. I think it's the first epic that dropped for me on hardcore so far. It's not the best epic, but nonetheless, epic is an epic, and they will always go for quite a bit. And I'm talking out of context. It's actually the third epic so far that has been dropping for me. 2 in group content, and that's the first like solo one that dropped for me. Good. Let me trade in, and we're going to continue with the quests in a sec. Alright, so we traded in all of the quests. Now let us proceed with the monkey quests. We gotta kill quite a few monkeys, and we gotta bring the one mechanical monkey, which is called Amy, home. So that'll be some absolute fun. On a bright side as well, some of the things that I was trying, I'm trying to get the mining up to 245 so that we can get thorium, which is going to be the next step. 235 is a good start, but I definitely need to do another tour through Tenaris, and on yet another tour, aspect, we have gotten 250 in engineering, so I need to learn the 250 recipes, which will give us dense stones as well as a couple of other thorium related materials. So that's essentially the last tier. So the really dangerous part with Unguro apes is they are calling for help, and it doesn't seem like much on the surface, but believe me, it's actually a little bit more problematic than you might think, because if these guys are calling for help, then not seldomly 2 other apes are going to help. So easily a single pull can become kind of a triplet in a matter of just a second. So that's why this whole area is a little bit more sketchy than it might appear on the outside. So we need to collect pelts. It's not just killing these guys, but essentially getting drops from them. On the outside here, I'm still fine with using all of my mana. Inside it's potentially a little bit different. I also got myself high explosive bombs, quite a few actually, for a little bit extra damage. These bad boys don't have a huge radius, but quite a bit of oomph for mithril based weaponry. And I will get some Zephyr charges as and when time allows. Not going to go into the goblin engineering. I'm going into gnome engineering because of the nice little tools that gnome engineering offers, but you can still use Zephyr charges, which is a goblin engineering device, and it's the biggest AoE damage that you can get. You're basically paying a little bit of health for it, but it's a huge area, and just an overall massive explosion. Good. Yeah, there's yet another gorilla. Like I said, we're just clearing the area in a little bit larger radius. Mainly to ensure that that Yunguru gorilla pounds his chest and is calling for help isn't going to bite us in the rear. It is now, because there is already the first thunderer coming in, and that's exactly the problem that I was talking about. Because all of a sudden, when you're on low resources, you need to fight yet another gorilla. So that's a bit of an issue. Yeah, but luckily enough for us, things are working out. Now that guy hits hard when he's on low health. So you can imagine the same scenario inside of a cave. Of course I do have potions and so on, but still, it's not fun. This would be a problem. So we want to make sure that that definitely doesn't happen. Hence, we're very securely going into that cave. So I have respect for the gorillas, mainly due to that whole shouting ability that they are having. The gorilla pounds his chest, calls for help, and it's a huge radius. It's a little bit further, more than 30 yards, which means if there are gorillas around, other gorillas will come. So our trick will be just pull them back. So now he's calling for help, pounds his chest. But there is essentially no one that could help him. Okay, cool. Works like a charm. Alright. Let's go. Let's put our totem base up here. Lots of clear casts, cool. That'll save some mana. Double checking, no patrol here, that's good. And the gorillas are the ones that are calling for help. The thunderers, I think, have that extra thunderclap or extra shock that they are using on top of it. So they are dealing a little bit more damage than the other gorillas. And you can see we're generally doing a good job in killing a few of them before we need to drink. This is the patrol. I'll mark it. Good. We still need to kill a couple more, mainly for the pelts. That patrol is going in really, really deep. Going to take it next. I think it won't be affected by the war scream or the scream for help that this guy has, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Very good. Fabulous. So we need one more Thunderer pelt and one more Yunguru Gorilla pelt, and then we can get Amy and get out of here. Like I said, it's a bit challenging to stay also inside of this cave. Once respawn happens, the shout for help is becoming even more annoying. So what I will do is I'll check the outside and just re-clear again. We need to get fully into the cave for the follow-up quest of the gorillas, which is basically killing that uber gorilla at the end of the cave, but for now we don't need to do that, so it's more effective for us to not stand in the middle of respawn like an idiot, but instead go out, get a couple of gorillas whilst they're still isolated. And this guy is maybe calling for help. No, he's not. Fantastic. Let's get that Stomper. Very good. We're finding ourselves in the middle of respawn now. Got a couple of normal gorillas. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Let's hope they drop a pelt, and then we're almost done with collecting pelts. However, the doctor also warned us, because these gorillas are the ones that are shouting for help. There you go. He shouts for help. Unsuccessful this time. And there is the pelt. Good. Since we cleared the entrance again, it's now time... there is the patrol. It's now time to respect the patrol. Good. Fantastic, to be precise. Let's hope that this Thunderer is dropping the pelt, because then we're essentially done with the pelt collecting. And we need a Thunderer's pelt. There we go. Cool. Really fortunate for us. All we need to do now is save Amy, and that should be child's play compared to what we've done so far. Just going in and moving the way out. Since we've killed everything on the way out, it should be relatively straightforward. But there is still a follow-up quest down here. Torva will tell us to kill kind of the uber gorilla, and that's what we're going to do soon. There's another quest that we need to trade in, finding the source. So I have high hopes that we will get more than half away of our level just by trading in all of those quests. Nice crit, almost 900. That's massive. The upfront burst is still very, very good. I mean, we're drinking a lot. Okay, there's no denying that. But just generally speaking, how quick we can kill enemies amazes me. It's not chain killing, but the individual kills are fast. Specifically when we're getting crits. Good. Our job will now be to go to the right hand side. There are still a couple of gorillas left. There's one patrol that hasn't respawned yet. This was the one that we've followed all the way down there. So that's a bit of a wild card. He will respawn very soon. But other than that, we should be fine. Okay. So, moving on. Let's go. Another Yunguru gorilla. By the way, there's a Thunderer. So we don't want to make the same mistake, which is pulling an additional one just because this guy pounds his chest here. Good. Successfully avoided. Another gorilla. There's one sleeping. Don't think that this guy wouldn't aggro. He very much would. So the job is to not pull him. Thought I pulled him far enough away. But as you can see, that was not the case. And there's the patrol that I talked about earlier, which will now aggro on our totems, so it's going to be a reset. No point in spending too much resources on that shit. It's exactly what I mentioned. If you know the game well enough, you can foresee many steps in advance. And in this case, it was definitely foreseeable what would happen. Guy got pulled from the gorilla calling for help. Then the patrol that I had mentally timed respawned just as I was fighting the Ed. And we were just fully out of resources. If I had more resources, then that would be fine. We're seeing respawns happening on the outside, so we now need to hurry up a little bit. The next respawns will happen right here. And I don't want to re-clear the whole cave. So a lot of the capabilities here boil down to your ability to know where you currently are. I mark the pad. Where you currently are and what the potential dangers could look like. Good that I'm an engineer, because you need a mithril chasing in order to get Amy going. That is an engineering item, which of course I've prepared in advance. I am hoping that we can bypass that patrol, which is still there. Looks like it. Now it's just a matter of getting out of here. We will be in respawn, so there will be at least one Ed in one of the fights.
That's still recharging.
Good. Amy begins to move out. Fair enough. unfortunately moves right into that next gorilla. That gorilla we need to pull all the way back because that stupid gorilla will call for help. And guess what we don't need? Damn right, another ad. Good. I'm drinking, assuming fully that these two will be a double pull. He pounds his chest, calls for help. Too far away from any other gorilla, that's good. And I think we've managed to go through the worst here.
I can't cast that yet.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, she's okay from here on. Maybe I am mistaken. But there was no more ambush, she just started going home. So as long as we're not running into a devil's ore or any other like unlikely stupidity, we should be okay. Once that is done, we have trade in into trade in into trade in. So that'll be 3 times 4 to 5,000, which is another 10%, I would guess. So not too bad. Good, we're finally done.
Watch your back.
That's even 6,500 experience. Nice. Alright, trade in into trade in. Let's do that. Alright. Tyrant Devilsaur almost didn't want us to trade in, but we've still done it. Just like that. And got a follow-up quest for the new springs, which is in Winter Spring. Which we will do a little bit later. Winter Spring is not yet on our list. So next trade in down here with the apes. Good, another 5,600. And now up to our last quest, which is bring the pelt of the mighty Uchan. So that will be the very last quest for this area. Alright, we're back at the cave. Time to kill that uber gorilla. The Primarch, the Master Gorilla, Ucha, and time to get his pelt.
That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging. I can't cast that.
Same layers of precaution as normally apply. We don't want to pull multiple apes. The difference between the last time is now we need to go all the way into the cave. Do we still have enough water? Yeah, we have another full stack of level appropriate water, so we're good. Even got a little bit of food, so things are not looking too bad. I missed the world buff today because it was at a different time than it usually is. So that's a bit unfortunate, but what can you do?
I can't cast that yet. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that yet.
There's a patrol, which is moving alongside here. Gotta be really careful with that. There it is, pulling that gorilla all the way back here. He calls for help and nothing happens. Fantastic. That's the patrol.
That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging.
Which we're likely going to take on next. For now we're just clearing the way. Very good. Good. The patrol is here. Fully used my time to drink. Once this Thunderer is down, we can move in.
I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready.
Good, no more patrols from now on. Well, there is one more patrol, but it's way deeper inside of the cave. It is on the top edge. So for now we're safe. And I think we have sufficient mana to go for one more gorilla. Good, getting the stomp out of the way, full eating, and putting the reserve water or the other water in. Really need to get to level 55 to get that sweet high level mage water in the future. For now we're good. 65% in the level, that is awesome. If we finish this quest we're almost 70% in. And so far I'm very happy with how we're doing inside of this cave.
I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging.
Thunderer is not calling for help, so we don't need to like pull him ultra far back. And there's the other patrol that I was talking about. That Thunderer right there. Drinking up. Mainly so that we can pull this guy. Since we need to wait anyways, I didn't want to double pull. Okay. It's another Thunderer, so that's okay. The next one is a Stomper. Also not calling for help. We just need to be careful with the gorillas. Those guys are the ones that are calling for help. Cool. Almost done on the lower section here, and we even got the patrol. That's good. Nice. That was some clean kill right there. Okay, fantastic. Good, we're on the final lap here. This is a gorilla, hence they will call for help.
That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast it.
There's the call for help. And it's not far enough away. Another gorilla. Interesting. Good, another Thunderer. Let's go. No respawn at the bottom yet, so we're actually quite fast in getting these guys down. There's Ucha, the mighty boss of these apes. And I think with the next pull we can finish that Ucha. This guy hasn't even respawned yet, so we might as well be able to jump down and weasel our way out. It's too bad that I don't have 245 mining yet. There's a lot of small thorium just waiting to be mined. Okay, should be a single pull, might be a double. Alright, Thunderer. This guy's not calling for help, which is good. And there's Ucha, the boss. Definitely has a lot of hit points. But yeah, goes down just like the rest. Okay, so that is that. We just need to trade it in. But before we can trade it in, let's escape this this cave here. Very good. These guys will respawn very soon. I think I've seen respawn up here.
I can't use that. That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that.
But there's only one other ape that comes through here, which is the patrol. Respawn is happening. Next up, the respawn is happening down there. I think the patrol we have killed earlier. So that guy should already be alive again.
I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging.
That's a Stomper. He's not calling for help. Good. Soon the respawn will happen behind us. Now it's just a patrol as always, which starts to be a bit problematic. Yeah, it's coming right here. I'm actually quite happy that I start to understand the details of these caves so well that I can forecast what we're going to deal with.
That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast.
Once this patrol is done, the way to the exit is clear. Respawn is now happening behind, but like I said, we're safe here. There's no one else coming through this passage. Yeah, and we're at 65% after trade-in, maybe even near 70%. That's good. That's very good. Almost level 55 after Yunguru Crater. I like it.
That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging.
The upfront damage is so good. The guy comes in and has 20% of his life.
That's still recharging.
Granted, if we're being ambushed, then it's only 50% damage, but still, it's a lot of upfront damage. Thunderer is not calling for help, so we're okay. The Thunderer is dealing a lot of damage, so we can't like sustain this for a period of time. I think we're just going to drink once more and then we're out of here. This gorilla is screaming for help, so that's why I want to make sure that we are full, just in case. And then it was really a nice little heist. Go in, or assassination. Go in, go out. Not a lot of problems.
That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast it. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging.
Alright, let's go.
That spell isn't ready yet. Charging. I can't cast that.
No one came to his aid. And we can mount here, which means we're out of here. Fantastic. Trade in. And then that is the deserved end of today's episode. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. One more trade in. There we go. The mighty Ucha. Time for a two-hand weapon. Could also use a main hand weapon. What's our current main hand weapon? 23. Well, that's a pretty sizable upgrade, to be fair. I'm still waiting. I'd rather use a dagger, a quick weapon. Okay, cool. And that's 4 gold, so I don't want to waste that. Definitely worth it. That's the end of today's episode. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.